Welcome back to DyeStat Shorts, where we highlight the biggest names making waves across the country. And well, today we're headed to Georgia to talk with one of the most dominant distance runners, not just in the Peach State, but in the United States. Bowdoin High School junior Averi Lowen. Avery's coming off an incredible performance in the Georgia 1A Division II state championships, where she won her third straight cross-country state title. Her time 16:56.12. And if you think that's fast for comparison, that was nearly 2 minutes faster than any other state champion that weekend. Not just any other competitor, but the state champions. She's also the winner of the prestigious Great American Cross Country Festival, where she ran a personal best 16:27.20 and remained undefeated this entire cross country season. Averi returns as the reigning Nike Southeast champion, where she ran 16:59.18 last year at Wake Med. She'll be back to defend her title. We'll talk about that and more. Averi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with your state meet. You just won your third straight Georgia state title. You did it in 16:56. Like we mentioned, almost 2 minutes faster than any other champion that weekend. When you crossed the line, what was going through your mind of how fast you really ran on that course?
It was a big shocker because freshman year I ran that course in 20 minutes and 10 seconds. And then last year I ran it in 17:52, so it felt really good. My hard work has paid off. I felt really good.
Yeah, how did this year's win feel compared to the last two? I mean, you mentioned you went from 20 minutes 2 years ago to, under 17. That's 3 minutes. How did it compare, and what do you attribute that growth to?
I think it's all goes down to what I do every day. Everything's focused. I'll try to do everything at 100%. So I think just keeping the training up and just keeping going every day.
Yeah, and you mentioned that training and that consistency. You've been undefeated all year. That's not easy to do. What do you think has allowed you to be so steady and consistent from the first race of the season through the state meet?
Um, Strategically, having my racing schedule as it is, I race one weekend and then I have 2 weekends off and then I race again. So I think the recovery periods have really helped me this year to show my progress, and I'm like at 100% at each race.
Yeah, talk about Great American and that race. How did that set the tone for the season? And, did you think that was kind of really your breakout race of the year? 16:27 and change, one of the fastest times in the country this year. It is the fastest in all of the Southeast.
Um, I feel like I was going into it not expecting anything, just to go out there and race hard and have fun. So running a 16:27 really made me feel good. Really wanted to go out fast that race, and I went out 4:56, I think. So it was pretty fast, but I think just not setting an expectation that day was the best thing I could do since it was my first big race back.
So you knew you were on pace for that kind of time?
I did have it on my watch. My 5K like race estimator was around that time. So
When you say first race back from what?
fro- from like it's like a first big Nike race back, a big postseason, like a big opener.
Yeah, I mean, not the biggest school, not the biggest cross country program. Is it harder kind of, you know, being, for lack of a better word, I know you have a team, but, being, kind of all alone when it comes to who you train with and things like that? What is that situation like for you?
I just have to find the drive in myself every day to go out there. I think I love the sport so much that I could be doing it with someone and love it, but love it just as much with by myself. So
How'd you get started, and what are some of your earliest memories?
the eighth grade year, my first ever middle school cross country meet, running at Carrollton Middle School. So I ran at Carrollton Middle School. I ran one lap for the middle school race.
All right, so it wasn't too long ago. You haven't been running since you were 5 or anything, and
Yeah.
all this success. You had a big spring too. You got state titles in the 1600 and 3200, and a second place finish in the 800. How much did that track season set you up for this breakout cross country year? And was there a moment in track when you thought, okay, this fall might be even more special than last?
Um, Definitely going sub 10:30 on the track. It really gave me some confidence for this cross country season. And then I finally broke 5 in the mile this year because this is my third year doing track. So I think I had the confidence going into cross country with my fitness overall.
Yeah, and I kind of said breakout year. The times dropped, but last year you were still a state champion. You're the reigning NXN Southeast champion. You ran 16:59 last year at Wake Med. When you look back at last year, what stands out the most about that race?
I just the internal motivation to keep going and just don't worry about anybody behind you. Just don't look back. I think just focusing on myself and really pushing myself that race was what really got me and pushing up the hills.
Yeah, when you look at this year coming up, defending champ, do you feel extra pressure, or do you feel like you have more confidence because you've been there, you've done that, you know what to expect?
I feel like it's a privilege to have all the pressure. I don't feel any pressure in this sport right now. So, because I love it so much. So, I'm just excited to go out there and race hard and I'm excited for the postseason.
What's your favorite part of that Wake Med course? Obviously, you had success on it.
Probably I'm a weirdo. I like the hills, so probably the big hill. I like the hill.
You're probably the first person from the South that said they like the hills. I'm
I
in Florida.
do.
We don't have any here. So how do you train for that? I mean, there's not a ton of hills in Georgia, is there? I mean, unless you're up
Uh,
in the northern part.
well, like I just find a really big hill in my town, and I find different big hills around my town, and I just do some killer hill workouts and just execute those every day.
I think that might be the quote right there. I just do killer hill workouts and execute those every day. Uh, that NXN experience for you, making it to Oregon, finishing 78th. What was it like from everything from the travel, the environment, and the race itself?
I feel like I was pretty new to that kind of stuff, so I was kind of like in a twilight zone, if I would describe it. And I was like really like tired last year, so I it was a good experience. The overall experience was good, but I think just I wasn't having fun last year because it was so new and I was so shocked because everything it was my first time flying on a plane.
Wow.
So everything factored into it, so I was like a ball of anxiety. But this year I'm kind of expecting what's going to happen, so I'm like more prepared because I've been on an airplane like 3 times since then.
Well, you probably enjoyed hanging out with some pro runners, getting all the Nike swag and the way they treat the athletes.
Yes,
That was probably cool, right?
that was probably one of the coolest things. Hearing Cooper Tier and Cole Hawker speak was one of the best. I have them. They actually signed my spikes, so
That's awesome. I know I went once, and as a Florida kid, the weather that was it wasn't the airplane ride, it was the weather with the mud and the cold and the rain was
I agree.
definitely an experience for a Florida kid. What did you take away from competing against the best girls in the country and knowing like, hey, I traveled all the way across the country. I'd never been on an airplane. I'd never been out of the Southeast. And to know that, hey, my first time here and I finished 78th, I can compete with these kids.
I would have never imagined. I always watched the race on TV ever since 8th grade, so it was like a really good experience. And I was like, I'm not just a small town girl that just runs in Bowden and runs in Georgia. I can do something with this. So,
Yeah, and what do you think? We don't want to put the cart before the horse and get ahead, but what do you think it will take to not only get back to NXN but finish higher this time around?
um, probably going into the race knowing that having confidence. Last year I was beat down because I was looking at all these other times and how better all these other girls were doing from other regions. So really just solely focusing on what I need to execute.
Yeah, last year you tried to do the double. You were 11th at Foot Locker South, just one spot away from qualifying for nationals and pulling off that rare NXN Foot Locker double. Is that something you're going to try and do again this year, or solely focus on NXN?
I would love to focus on Brooks too.
Brooks.
So yeah.
Well, what would it mean for you to punch a ticket and do both? I mean, that's rarefied air. Not many people get to do that.
I feel like it would be just an amazing experience. I feel like it would just be like a tribute to all my hard work that I've put in to the sport. And I think going to different places to run and to do what I love would just be amazing.
You have a little bit of time between now and then, but what does a strong week of workouts look like you for you between now and Nike and then Brooks?
Probably like I'd probably do some tempo work and some speed on the track. So just keeping my legs fresh and ready, just not overdoing it, overkilling my body because I'm aerobically there.
Is there a particular workout that you're like, all right, I'm ready to go? That's the indicator. I know I'm there.
Probably sometimes when I'm doing those hill repeats, those it's like a 400-meter long hill at 4:45 pace. I feel like I can do those hills anywhere if I do that.
That's the physical part of it, but mentally, how do you balance being a favorite with staying focused and grounded?
I like to stay off of social media, so I don't like look at other people's stuff as much as I did last year because I made the mistake of doing that, getting beat before I was even on the start line. So I feel like just living the moment, doing what I love, and just running.
As you look ahead to the rest of your junior year and in the national postseason, what are you most excited about?
I feel like just experiencing it all over again and enjoying it. That's what I'm most excited for, and the big names and racing against the best. I really am looking forward to the competition.
It's a little bit cliche, but they say it takes a village to get to where you are. Is there anybody you want to shout out for helping you out throughout this incredible year and getting you to where you're at?
Probably my dad. He supports me every day. I would wake him up at 4 in the morning. He'll go with me. So, and he doesn't have to do that, but he wants to. So he takes me everywhere. Yeah, a big shout out to my dad.
It definitely helps when you have a support system, family, coaches, the whole nine yards. Avery, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on an undefeated season, another Georgia State title, huge win at Great American, and everything you've accomplished this fall. We're excited to watch you defend your NXN Southeast title, make your run back to NXN and possibly Brooks as well. And for everyone watching, you can catch all of the Nike regional and national coverage right here on DyeStat and RunnerSpace. This has been a DyeStat Shorts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Avery, thanks again for joining us here today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.